What up, what up, what up? It's K.Honesty, and I'm about to do a review of Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 7, Episode 3. So if you haven't seen the third episode of Season 7 of Tyler Perry's Sistas, turn this video off, go watch the episode, and come back and watch this video. And like this video and subscribe to my channel. It is a simple and free way to support my channel. I don't understand why y'all not liking the video. Like, it's anonymous. I don't know it's you liking it. Like, it's an easy and free way to support my channel. If you fuck with me and you sitting here watching it, why not hit the like button and hit the subscribe button? And hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when I post. I'm not a public speaker. I will tend to fumble my words. You'll hear me say, so, like 1,000 times. I might stop to regain my thoughts. I might talk slower to regain my thoughts. I'm going to definitely be looking at my notes over here that I take throughout the show. And anything I say is my opinion. It does not reflect anyone or anything associated with this show. And comment below what you would grade this episode, what you thought of the episode. If I forgot anything and specifically, if I forgot anything specifically, let me know. If I was off on anything, all that good stuff, comment below. I like to grade the episodes before and after my reviews. I'm going to grade this episode a C+. Like, I keep hearing that they got new writers, but these new writers ain't doing shit. I don't know. To me, they making the show more dry. This episode was so dry to me. Like, they thought they had us with the whole Gary FBI investigation thing. Like, that shit ain't nothing for me. Like, it's not even making sense. And where's Robin? They just wrote his ass off. C+, that's what I'm going to go with. Last Chance, Tyler Perry Sistas, Season 7, Episode 3. About to spoil the entire episode. I don't want to do that for people who haven't seen it, so you need to turn the video off if you haven't seen it. Well, I'm going to spoil it if you keep watching it, so it is what it is. Let me get a sip of my smoothie. I put me some frozen blueberries and some orange juice concentrate in this strawberry banana smoothie that I got from the grocery store. And it tastes way better because I like blueberries in my strawberry banana smoothie and my orange juice concentrate. It tastes way better now. That's good. Okay, so the first scene of the episode is Andy. She's arriving at work, and Fatima's telling her that Gary's being investigated by the FBI, and she thinks that it's embezzlement. And she says they've called an emergency meeting and that all of the partners are coming in for this emergency meeting. So Andy's like, well, I haven't dealt with Gary for a while now. I should be good, right? And I'm like, why are you asking Fatima this? First of all, you the lawyer. She the one aspiring and going to school to be a lawyer. You're the lawyer. Why would you ask her something like that? But either way, so Fatima's like, is the penthouse and the car still in his name? And Andy's like, no, it's all in my name. If I was her, I'd sell that shit right now. So she won't have no ties to the nigga. Because you still driving around in something he bought you. Still living in something he bought you. So she's saying that it's still in her name. But Fatima's like, even so, like, it was paid for with Gary's funny money. So they still might want to talk to everybody involved with him. Man, is this weed or just... Oh, this fruit from the, no, it was weed. Man. Oh, that was something from the smoothie. God damn. Anyway, so, where am I? So, yeah, so Sam is like, even so, it might be in your name. They still want to talk to everybody who's involved with Gary and his funny money or whatever. So then Hayden, he comes over there all giddy and shit, hugging up on Andy and Fatima. I'm like, nigga. So he comes over and he's like, Fatima's like, you and your buddy Gary about to go down. So Hayden's like, oh, no, not me, because the FBI came to my house earlier and I told them everything. Snitch ass. Hot ass nigga. I told them everything. Even Fatima was like, oh, so you're a snitch. So he's like, oh, well, all my business dealings with Gary is on the up and up, so I don't have nothing to worry about. And then he's like, but when them old rich men get scared, they're going to look for somebody to throw under the bus, and Andy, you would be an easy target. And then he tells her, like, when we both talk to the partners, I won't throw you under the bus if you don't throw me under the bus. So Andy agrees. She's like, okay. Then we get this scene. Tony wakes up and and asks Danny why she's cleaning in the apartment so much. And Danny's like, well, the therapist is coming over. Why was Danny wearing what she was wearing for the therapist? Why is her boobs like sitting by her chin? Danny already got big boobs. We already know. Why are they sitting on her chin? And why was she wearing that for the therapist? She don't even dress like that when she go out with the girls. I was just so lost. But either way, she's like, the therapist is coming over, and Tony's like, oh, well, well, just understand that she's not there to judge you, and promise me that you'll open up to the therapist, and I'll call you later to see how it goes. And he leaves, and then the therapist arrives. And then we're at the salon where Karen, you know, she's somewhat shady. What's the word? She's thanking Pam for all her help, but she's doing it in a shady way. You know how Karen is to Pam. And Pam is looking good. Pam looked like she just slimmed down a little bit. I was like, okay, Pam. So, next thing you know, all the lights go out in the salon. And then a woman comes in. She says she's the building owner. Her name's Shauna. And she's like, we have a problem. And Karen's like, I was just about to call maintenance because I see it. Yeah, we have a problem. It's the lights. I wonder what the problem could be. So Shauna's like, well, the problem is actually insufficient funds. She's like, your auto pay for your lease didn't go through. So Karen's like, oh, that must be a mistake. Shauna's like, well, that's why I'm here, to see how you're going to rectify that mistake. Very, very rude in a way. So Karen's like, well, I got to pee every 5 seconds, and I got this grand opening I'm dealing with. You'll definitely get your money tomorrow. No, she says you'll get your money. She doesn't say that. I don't think she says tomorrow. So then Shauna's like, oh, excuse me. Shauna's like, well, unless you want to have your grand opening in the dark. It's basically, she's like, that's all she says. Well, basically, she's like, bitch, you better pay now. Unless you want to have your grand opening in the dark. So Karen's like, okay, well, you'll have your money today. She's like, great, that's great to hear. I love what you've done with the place. It's cute. I was like, oh, so she got a goddamn racist white overseer just like Sabrina ass. Because remember, Sabrina's people who's at her job be on her ass too. Because now she ain't working at her old branch where her manager was that black woman. Now she got these white women that's all on her ass, Sabrina. And it looks like Karen does too. So the lady leaves. Shauna, she leaves. And Karen's like, oh, there's another thing I got to deal with myself. Now I got to transfer funds from my personal account to the business account to cover this, to cover the payment of the lease. So then we get Gary calling Hayden saying, I need your help, buddy. And Hayden's like, no, I can get in trouble for just being for even talking to you on the phone right now. And Gary's like, well, it wasn't no problem. We was making money together. Hayden's like, well, that's when I thought your money was legit. So Gary's like, it is. And Hayden's like, not according to the FBI, buddy. So Gary's like, I always knew you was a selfish little rat. So Hayden's like, I'm not doing time for you. And then hangs up on Gary. And when he hangs up, he's like, I ain't about to do time for you neither. And he's sitting right across from Tamara ass. So I'm like, oh gosh, he really sprung over her. Because for her to even be back. So surprisingly, Tamara, she admits she was like, yeah, they paid me to get info on you, get dirt on you or whatever, but I didn't expect to fall for you. You know that fake, you know, every time you see a movie where somebody get paid to do something for somebody and then they end up falling for the person, but then it'd be too late because the person finds out and then they be like, I didn't know I was going to fall for you. So that's the type of shit she's trying to play right now. Dang, I just spit like him. So that's the type of game Tamara trying to say, I didn't know I was going to fall for you. So she's like, I know we got issues, but we can work through them. That's why I'm here. So Hayden's like, I still don't trust you. So Tamara's like, oh, I don't need you to trust me. We'll get there. She playing with his, well, they want us to, the way that the scene is set up, they want us to feel like she's playing with his, she's rubbing his crotch with her leg. And possibly has her legs open, possibly showing her cootie cat to him. I don't know. And I'm like, Hayden, dumbass, he gonna fall for it. She just trying to run that 6 months up so she can get that money. We ain't stupid. We already know she gotta be married to him for about 6 months. They ain't did the annulment that I know of. Did she sign it? I can't remember. Then Fatima, she goes to check on Andy, who's on the edge. She's like, Andy's like, I just feel like I'm waiting around to get fired. She's like, I feel like it's all my fault, da-da-da-da. Fatima's trying to assure her, like, it's not your fault. Gary did all this on his own. She's like, you were a great lawyer. Speaking of being a great lawyer, did you get those documents from Zach? Andy's like, yes, I did. Fatima asked about something else, and Andy was like, oh, I didn't get that yet. She's like, don't worry, Fatima. I mean, Andy's trying to ensure Fatima, like, she's like, don't worry, I'm gonna have my head in the game when it's time for the hearing. I know how important it is to you and Zach, just that and the third. So then Fatima brings up Karen's grand opening. Seemingly all the women forgot about that. I mean, they going through their little situation, so they seemingly kind of forgot about Karen's grand opening. Because Tony brings it up to Danny, too, before he leaves. He's like, oh, don't forget to tell Karen I said congrats on her grand opening. And Danny was like, oh, shit. So they all seemingly forgot about it. So Fatima brings it up, and Andy's like, oh, dang, should I even go to that? And Fatima's like, yeah, you should get out of here for a little while at least. So you don't got to be just sitting in here like this or whatever. Okay. So now we back at Danny's place, and we get this therapy session between her and the therapist, and she notices that Danny is, like, apprehensive, and she tells her, like, just relax. So she asks Danny, like, what made you seek therapy? Danny's, like, basically her boyfriend and her friends. She says she doesn't feel like she needs therapy. So then the therapist, she tells Danny, like, well, one thing I do know, you have to want to be here, and you have to want to do the work. Otherwise, you just wasted both of our time and your money. So Danny's like, well, I'm not really the type to talk about my life, this, that, and the third. So then she asks Danny, like, how close are you with your girlfriends? And Danny's like, we're like sisters. I was like, okay, try to throw the name of the show in there, whatever. I mean, they throw the name of the show in there a couple of times. They throw it in there a couple of times sometimes. A couple of times a season. So she like, we like sisters. And the therapist is like, well, if they know you that well, then maybe they see something that you can't. She's like, maybe they just want the best for you, but you got to want that for yourself. Danny's like, I hear that, I received that, whatever. They end the session, the therapist leaves. I noticed at the end of that scene, after the therapist left, Danny got a phone call and she ignored it. So I was like, who was that? She looked at her phone, she was like, she ain't answer it. So I was like, who was that calling her? Preston, maybe? I don't know. So Rich, he stops by the bank. Sabrina's little white coworker like, ooh, he's fine. I'll take you next. And he's like, actually, I came to see her. Talking about Sabrina. So Sabrina's like, you didn't have to leave the other day or something like that. He was like, I just came to do some checks or something. So he's like, he said that our last conversation kind of like took me out of the mood to want to get down and dirty, whatever, get busy. But he tells her he came there just to let her know that he wasn't mad, that he's not mad, he's just a little confused. So then Sabrina apologizes. She's like, oh, well, I know I was drunk. She's like, well, but you didn't have to leave at the same time. So Rich is like, well, I do want to talk about it. Like, can you meet up with me afterwards or whatever? And the white lady's like, rather his job than yours, Sabrina. I'm just like, these white bitches on Sabrina's ass. So Sabrina's like, well, I'll swing by after Karen's grand opening. So Sabrina remembered, apparently. So then we back at Karen's salon. The delivery man that we saw in the last episode, his name is Trey. I feel like we're going to be seeing more of him, so I learned his name. So he arrives at Karen's shop, and before Pam could even start flirting with him, Karen's like, he's here to take back all the shit that you ordered. She's like, you used the business card, and that's why the lease payment didn't go through. And I was like, oh, come on, Pam. That's why the lights went out, because Pam spent money on all that dumb shit. I was like, come on, Pam, you gotta do better. She be just doing the worst. So Pam's like, oh, it won't happen again. Karen's like, I know, because I took your ass. I cut your access off. She's like, if you want to buy shit, use your own money. So then she points to the boxes for Trey to go get. And he's telling her, like, I could have gotten that stuff for you and for free, basically. And Karen's like, ain't nothing free. So then he's like, well, you could repay me by having me around more. Unless your baby father gonna trip about it or whatever. And Pam's like, nope, she's single. I'm like, why it's always got to be about a man? Why she can't just be single, pregnant, and running her business? Why it always got to be a man coming around when it comes to these Tyler Perry shows? Women are not dependent on men. But what's her name? Let Toya Harris from Married to Medicine tell you, you got to have a man when you get grown. If you watch my Married to Medicine reviews, then you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so Trey, after Pam tells Trey Karen's single, he goes to get the boxes. He's like, if you need anything, Karen, let me know. I have it delivered. And then he congratulates her on the grand opening. Karen kind of out fucking him, so I guess we're going to see something there. So then Danny, Sabrina, and Andy, they finally arrive to Karen's shop. So they try to talk about their problems. Andy's talking about the Gary and the FBI situation. Danny's talking about her therapy session. Sabrina's telling them about talking with Rich about wanting his kids and his... But she says it's so weird. Like, I asked Rich for his sperm. So Karen's like, well, we not about to do this right now. Like, we not about to be talking about that. She's like, my friends couldn't even be here to help me set up, and now y'all want to come in here and spilling all y'all drama and this, that, and the third. And they like, we always do this. But then they apologize. They're like, we sorry, Karen. We know we love you. Da, da, da. So then Karen brings up them having lunch with Fatima. She don't even tell them that she actually came to the restaurant and saw them having lunch with her, or brunch, or whatever it was. She's like, I saw you guys looking so happy in that picture, or whatever she said. So they're like, well, Karen, we invited you and you said no. But then they apologize again anyway. And they're like, well, what can we do, Karen? What can we do to help you now? Karen's like, well, everything's done now, so you guys can just smile and be happy for me or leave. I'm like, this girl is that butthurt that they had brunch with her ex's fiance. So now we get Zach. He's sitting in his car outside Karen's salon with a bouquet of roses, basically practicing what to say to Karen. He's like, basically like practicing how to say congratulations and practicing how he gonna ask Karen to take a DNA test. So out of nowhere, Karen's mom, Lisa, jumps in Zach's car and is like, what are you doing here? So Zach's like, I'm just here to support. So Lisa's like, that don't sound strange to you that you here to support. You trying to confuse my daughter. She's like, she's like, you really shouldn't be here. So Zach's like, I'm just trying to be nice, trying to be like cordial. Lisa's like, well, my daughter needs an available man, and you've made it completely clear that you are not an available man. So like lines need to be drawn. So Zach's like, oh, I get it. I was just trying to be nice. Lisa's like, no, Zach, go home. Like, text Karen, congratulations, just go home. I'm glad she did that. So Zach's like, okay. So then we get this scene. Gary done called Penelope to come to his office or whatever. She's there. He trying to apologize and bribe her with her favorite food or whatever. Penelope's like, it's not going to change things. And Gary's like, well, I reacted the way I reacted because I was embarrassed, and We can't just let one situation ruin what we have, and my whole world is falling apart, and I need you right now. Just saying all that stuff to Penelope. Then he purposely, I was like, if that was supposed to be an accident, that was badass acting. But he purposely spills food on her dress. I didn't know what he was about to do there. I was thrown off. So she gets up. She's like, the bathroom's down there. So she gets up to go to the bathroom. Oh, excuse me. And then Gary goes in her purse and copies all her credit cards or copies all the stuff from her wallet, whatever it was. So then Karen's grand opening starts. And the ladies, they start thanking Pam. They in there thanking Pam for helping Karen with the shop. And I'm just like, that's her job. What the fuck? Like, y'all thanking her for doing her job? Okay. We missed the part that she used money from the business account and almost had the damn shop being lights out. So then the girls, they give Karen a gift. They tell her not to open it yet. And then Karen thanks all of them for showing up and supporting her. Then she's like, I don't want Zach to be here, but I just thought he'd at least show up. After all, I am dealing with all this carrying our child. In that moment, I was already happy Lisa told his ass not to come, but I was so happy that he wasn't there. I was like, I'm glad his ass not there now. I'm glad she told his ass not to go. So then Andy she steps away. She gets a call. She gets a call from Fatima, who says, like, girl, I just heard them bring up your name, and I feel like you need to get back to the office now. So Andy's like, okay, I'm on my way. She goes tell the ladies I gotta go, work-related emergency. So then Sabrina, she gets to Rich's establishment. I think it's like a smoothie shop or something. Rich starts giving Sabrina all these compliments, and Sabrina's like, okay, you're stalling. So then Rich is like, okay, well, I have 8 siblings, and I'm the oldest. And between my siblings and all their kids, I feel like I've been taking care of kids all my life. He's like, everything feels right with us except for this. So then Sabrina says, well, ever since I was a little girl, I always known I wanted kids. She's like, if we end up there, we can't be mad that we did. We can't be mad that we did. So then Rich, he's like, so what does this mean? So I'm thinking they about to break up. I'm thinking Sabrina about to break up with him. It's a deal breaker. I want kids, you don't. So Sabrina's like, well, I don't know. So Rich is like, well, I think that if we both see a future with one another, it might look different than what we imagined, but we got to be both okay with that. He's like, me speaking personally for myself, I'm okay with it. So then Sabrina's like, well, I might regret it, but there are things that I like. There are a lot of other things that I do like about you, so I'm willing to give it a shot. So I'm just like, okay, so fuck your wants and fuck what you want, huh, Sabrina? This nigga don't want kids, and you do. You clearly do. And you willing to just stay in a relationship. I feel like they should have just broke up before it got even closer. He don't want kids, and you do. So one day y'all can get down the line, and this conversation is going to get brought up again. And if he feels the same way, still, you going to feel away. I feel like they should have just broke up. And if it was meant to be, they would come back to each other. So then Rich is like, well, I promise to make sure every day that you don't regret it. I don't know how I feel about Rich yet. I don't know. I mean, at least he was honest with her. Right? He don't want kids. So you know. So when, like they was talking about, it gets down the line, don't act surprised. Don't think he going to change his mind. Because some women be thinking they could change men's mind. They meet a man and he don't want to get married. He don't want to have kids. He don't want a committed relationship. And she think, oh, okay, let me get about 3-6 months with him. I'm going to be all he want. Da, 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 da. And then you get them 6 months in and he still feel the same way. Or he's still acting the same way. You got to make sure them boundaries are there. So then Zach gets home and he got the roses in his hand. Fatima's there changing her shoes. She's giving her a brief little what's the word? She giving him a little briefing of what's going on with Gary and the firm and the FBI and all that. So she immediately starts smiling, assuming that the roses are for her. Then Zach tells her that they were for Karen's grand opening. Her smile turns to a frown. And Zach's like, oh, it's not even like that. Fatima's like, so what is it like then? So Zach's like, well, I went there early before people came so I wouldn't get caught in another picture. He says he went to get a paternity test. So Fatima's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And Zach is like, well, I was trying to handle it. And Fatima's like, so what's with the roses? So Zach was like, well, it was just to soften the blow. Because I already don't want to do it. He's like, I know that, what do you say? He's like, I know we both want to be sure, but I already know when I ask Karen that question, it's going to piss her off. So Fatima's like, well, Karen's always mad. And Zach's like, I know. That's why I was just trying to avoid all the drama and keep you out of it. So Fatima's like, okay, well, how'd it go? So then Zach tells her I didn't even get to go in there and ask her. Then tells her about Mama Lisa rolling up on him, telling him to leave because she don't want him to confuse Karen more. So Fatima's like, well, I actually agree with that. She tells Zach, like, you and Karen do need some boundaries. So Zach's like, well, she's the mother of my child. So Fatima's like, we haven't gotten the test back yet. I don't blame Fatima though. Like, it's been a whole bunch of wild ass shit going on. So I don't blame her for trying to get this paternity test from Karen. So Fatima's like, look, I know Karen will be upset, but we need to know. So she's like, when you go back there, make sure you go empty-handed. I'm like, why are you even sending him back? I really feel like they can wait another day. Don't do it on the day of her grand opening. She already stressed out about having to take money out of her personal account. She was stressed about the girls not being there on time. And now you about to come with this paternity test. And I'm all here for it, but I just feel like today was not the day. So this nigga Gary, he's in his office, super frantic about Hayden and Andy ignoring his calls or whatever. And then apparently he has, I don't know what that white guy's title is. I don't know if that's his assistant, business partner, or whatever. But he tells Gary, like, okay, I've updated Penelope's life insurance. Now you have access to all her accounts. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. He really be on some wild nigga shit. He's really a Mitch. Gary's really a Mitch, bruh. So Andy, she gets back to the office. Fatima tells her that the partners have already met with Hayden. And Hayden is back in his office. He hasn't cleared anything out, so she's assuming that's a good sign. And then she asks Andy, like, do you have a game plan? So Andy's like, well, I'm just going to tell the truth. She's like, it's all I got. So then she calls Hayden, and Hayden doesn't answer. But then he texts her and like, can't talk now. I'm pretending to work. And I'm like, so since when did Andy and Hayden, why are they trying to make fetch happen? Andy and Hayden do not fuck with each other that much. So how are they on a texting basis now? First they was talking in the by the water cooler, and Hayden was giving Andy all the scoop on Gary. I was like, since when is this a thing? Now we got Andy and Hayden texting each other. I was like, okay. So he texting her. He tells her the meeting went great, but a person named Leland brung up Andy's name about 3 times and tells her to be careful. So right after she reads that, the guy Leland is walking past, and Andy's like, go, Fatima, go get Leland. Tell him come here right quick. So Leland comes in. Andy apologizes. She's like, I apologize for having you having to come in under such wild circumstances. So Leland's like, well, you know exactly what those wild circumstances are. So Andy's like, I don't know what you're implying. So then Leland, he cuts Andy off, and he's like, I've already done my homework on you and your boyfriend, Gary. And Andy's like, that's not my boyfriend. We did have dealings for a brief time. And I was like, a brief time? Girl, y'all was talking for a little minute. Talking about a brief time. Okay, I get it, though. You trying to make it seem like it wasn't nothing. So Leland's like, a brief or not, there are multiple missteps and breaches of protocols in your actions with Gary. And he's like, you left this firm vulnerable to sanctions and lawsuits with your behavior. So Andy's like, well, I understand your sentiment, but I'm the best thing that has happened to this firm, and I won't stand here and let you say otherwise. So Leland's like, it's not just about you, it's about your sleazy ways. And then starts having shorts of breath and then passes out. I got a smoothie on my lip. It's gone. And that's how the episode ends, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, okay, guy, he passing out, about to pass out. I guess that could be a good thing. Like I said, C+, because I don't know what they thought they was giving us some good scoop on this episode. This episode is all over the place. I don't understand. Predictions, thoughts, or whatever for episodes to come, or this episode, whatever. Like I keep saying, where is Robin? They just wrote him off the show. It makes no sense. How he was just gone. He was supposed to come back after lunch with the money, whatever, something like that. They just wrote Robin off. I actually liked Robin's character. And then I'm like, okay, so this Leland guy, if he passes, God forbid, if he passes out and dies, would that make it better for Andy when she finally does sit down with the partners? She don't have this one guy who was against her sitting in there with them, so maybe she might have a chance at keeping her job. I don't know. Like I said, I would sell that apartment and that car. It ain't like she ain't got the money. She be out here lending checks, giving checks to Karen, bailing Sabrina out $1.5 million. So she got the money. She had a nice place before she had the penthouse. So I feel like Andy needs to sell that car and that penthouse so she don't have no ties to that man. Poor Penelope, like, she about to be down bad. We see in the preview for the next episode, she calls Andy. Yeah, she calls Andy and like, you're not going to believe this. So Gary is manipulating her, of course. Hayden, dumbass. I mean, let him. I mean, we don't, like I said, I'm here for the little banter that Hayden and Fatima be having, but when it cuts deep, as far as coming from Hayden, I don't be fucking with it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let him keep getting tricked out by Tamira. So I ain't even mad at it. Like I said, she just waiting for that 6 months to be up so she can get that money. And he's so sweet, I feel like it's going to happen. But then we see him on the next episode trying to take Andy down. Fatima's like, I'm on to you. So I hope she really is on to him. Because, like, why are you trying to take Andy down now? Why? It makes no sense. Like I said, when the therapist left, Danny got a call that she ignored. And I'm just like, what is that about? I still feel like Sabrina, you should have just called it quits with Rich. I feel like you should have just called it quits. If it was meant to be, y'all would get back together. And then we see Karen and the delivery guy again in the next episode. So I'm thinking there's gonna be something there. He might end up talking to her. He about to be a stepdaddy. Yeah, I'm just wondering how Karen gonna react when she finally do see Zach on the day of her grand opening, and he comes there asking about a paternity test. Fatima know what she doing. She knows she want to piss that girl off on the day of her grand opening. Petty. It's okay, though. We get you, Fatima. It's okay. But those are my little predictions, thoughts, what have yous for episodes to come, or this episode, whatever. Thanks for watching this review, and comment below what you would grade the episode, what you thought of the episode. If there was anything I forgot or was off on, let me know in the comments. And like this video and subscribe to my channel. I don't only review Sistas, I review other shows as well. And you wouldn't know that if you don't hit the subscribe button. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when I post. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat this, but like, subscribe, notification bell. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Please and thank you. And I will see y'all in the next review. Peace.